and welcome to another episode of the Two Idiots podcast. I'm Reg,
I'm Randy.
and joining us this week, after much technical difficulties, and hopefully we're going to make this work. But we have this week Mr. Ray Boulanger, uh, a retired pilot who flew. He's a bush pilot for the CIA, for the Colombian cartel. He smuggled a bunch of drugs into Canada, got arrested. He escaped prison. He's been all over the world. He's been all over. So
He's pretty much a living action movie.
yeah, he really is. So yeah, we just went through a little preamble. So we're looking forward to talking to him. Hopefully this all lines up and this all works. So without further ado, let's add him in here to this chat here. What do we think? Let's see here. Let's find him. There he is. Done. Let's see if he see how this works. We're kind of flying by the seat of our pants here.
Oh boy.
I'm excited to talk to him, and I hope that it works out.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hello.
I think. Just give us a little bit here, Ray. What? Just talk for a little bit. Want to make sure you're coming through.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the cough. Okay. Yeah, I think you're working. Let's bump this up here a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So welcome here. I'm Reg. That's Randy.
I'm Randy.
Thanks for joining the show, Ray. We finally got this to work. Super delayed. It was it was a bit of a process, but glad we got it.
Not to worry. We're sitting in a snowstorm here.
Oh yeah.
I just got 2:00 driving down the township side. It's pretty bad. Wind's blowing about 50 clicks right across the highway. Can't see shit.
Oh, the joys.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we're coming in from south of Winnipeg, so we know winter pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Winter peg.
Yeah. Where are you right now?
It lives up to the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereabouts are you, Ray?
I'm in Montreal.
Ah, okay.
Right on the Lachine Canal, right downtown Montreal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So, since we finally got this all to work, so let's dive into it here. You have one of the craziest life stories of anyone that I've ever spoken to by a mile. So, first off, I guess introduce yourself, kind of maybe give a little blurb for our listeners to let them know who you are.
Well, I'm just 73 years old, and I'm retired now from my past occupations. And after serving a 23-year sentence in prison for importation of 5 tons of drugs, cocaine to be specific, into Canada in a Convair 580, kind of got the authorities upset. They gave me 23 years, and then I escaped twice, so they added on 4 months and 2 days on top of that. So.
That's fair. That's fair. That's wild. So, yeah.
Then we wrote a book about it, and we made a couple of documentaries, and it's out there in circulation now.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah, the one on Crave is coming out in English soon, if I understand correctly.
it is already finished. It's out. It'll be out in Canada because Bell don't have it for Canada, but it will be distributed in Canada soon. But the English version is now bought by Kwanzaa, which is a Paris-based huge distribution company. So you're going to find it on Netflix. You're going to find it wherever they sell it to.
Perfect.
So that'll be
perfect.
You can
I'm excited
also
to watch
catch
it.
a bit on National Geographic Channel. I did a segment for them. There's a 6-part series called Narco Wars. That started airing in the United States on the 28th of January.
Oh, okay.
The first part of the series, episode 1, the first 20 minutes is yours truly getting interviewed about all my CIA activities.
Well, let's continue that trend then. What I couldn't find a lot on what you did with the CIA or for the CIA. So maybe tell us the story of kind of what you did with them or for them or.
Well, it's pretty well understandable. The CIA, or people have a funny understanding about what, it's not all spies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The CIA is a very huge organization with different facets and all that. And most of the work that's done for government changes and all kinds of hanky-panky shit goes on is done by contractors to the CIA. They
Yeah.
don't do the dirty work themselves. It's all contracted out. They all use front companies. Gosh knows, I've changed airlines paint on my airplanes sometimes 3 times in the same month. 3 different paint jobs, depending on what the job at hand was. So it's all activities like that. But we don't work directly for the CIA. We're private mercenaries.
Mm.
We work for private firms that hire people like me to do very specific jobs. It depends. And our customers come from all over the place. They're not only cartels.
Yeah.
That's just one of them. They're a good customer and they pay quite well. But the others, they pays quite well as well. And that's very busy. And most of the thing is that people haven't noticed that even despite the conviction I got for being with the drug cartels, my main work was in the arms business. It was the distribution of weapons for my company in Belgium.
Okay. And so that was from Belgium and distributed all over the world.
No, well, for weapons, yeah, because Belgium is pretty well the center for NATO and all European armies, and any other armies that are looking for weapons from the NATO armies and stuff like that, all tend to meet up in Brussels. So that's pretty well the center, the epicenter of the arms trade.
Huh.
You can virtually buy anything, from a nose pick there, gosh, to an atomic bomb in Brussels if you know the right connections.
Wow, that's how does one get into that? Like, you start off as a pilot, as a bush pilot. Actually, before we continue, there was a blurb when I was doing research for this episode. I found an article on Globe and Mail from 2000, and the first paragraph reads, "Bush pilot, mercenary for the Central Intelligence Agency, convicted drug smuggler, star flyer for the Colombian cocaine cartels, and runaway inmate are some of the highlights of the adventurous career of Raymond Boulanger, the cocky character police named the Cowboy Pilot." So how does one get into that? How does that become your life?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it was normal for us. I mean, I started bush flying and stuff like that when I was really young, and I got a taste of clandestine work in black operations in the early 70s. When I started short-term contracts, a couple of months here, a couple of months there, mostly out of Thailand, with penetration flights at night into Cambodia, allow us to relocate agents or bring out material or documents or whatever other materials they had to happen to stuff in the airplane. These ground stuff, that smelled funny.
Of course.
When we asked about it, we were told it's none of our business, so just fly the damn airplane, get going.
Wow.
That's pretty well how I got into it. And then over a period of years, you get calls back for jobs. You either take them or not. There's a big network of people, ex-Air Force and ex-Marine pilots, ex-Army pilots, who are out there and they don't get into the airlines. They're not interested in that kind of stuff because they're flying an airline, and for me, is driving a bus. Even back in the old days when you actually had to fly them.
Yeah.
Today, you don't actually fly airplanes anymore. If you have to be a computer operator, you just get in there and know which button you got to push, and you're fine. And now they got the lights to flash at you, tell you which button to push. You don't even have to think anymore. Just look where the stupid light flashes and flash it.
My uncle's a commercial pilot. He would love that. He would love hearing that, I'm sure. Wouldn't take it personally at all. But no, it totally makes sense.
Well, that's just not flying to me.
That's fair.
I got bored with that kind of crap. Yeah, I did that for about a year. Total crap. Yeah, but the only fun part of that was the layovers with all the stewardesses. That was the part that I liked.
There you go.
Freshly divorced, 28 years old, and the hotel was full of air crews from all over the world. It just got kind of interesting sometimes, believe me.
Time to mingle. Yeah.
But as far as the flying goes, to sit your ass in a chair and sit there and stare at the horizon there, monitor your instruments for hours and hours and hours, flying across the ocean, yeah, you might get 40,000 hours doing that, but you're not flying. I'd rather have a guy that flies in the bush like us with 5,000, 10,000 hours. That guy flies.
Yeah.
He don't push. He's actually flying the damn airplane. And you go up and visit the boys up in Buffalo. That's guys that fly real airplanes. Those are real airplanes. Those are real pilots. The rest of the shit you see at Air Canada and West, these toys. These are toys. Give me some goddamn chimpanzees. Give me 10 days and 30 pounds of bananas, and I'll teach them all how to fly.
I've got a coworker that owns his own plane. Actually, he kind of echoes the same sentiments for him. He just has a small a 2-seater plane, and he said the same thing multiple times. He's like, anyone can be a pilot nowadays. It's so easy, but to actually get up there with a small plane, have to do it all yourself. It's a different animal compared to when he was learning to do it compared to now.
This episode of the Two Idiots Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. Fellas, we're in a thick of winter and the storms are brewing. Looks like 1 to 3 inches are in the forecast when you trim that hibernation bush that's taking place in your pants. Luckily, our partners at Manscaped specialize in products to make sure you're walking around town with beautiful snowballs.
Frosty the Snowman Beautiful. Manscaped is here to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience, offering precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Randy, when did you last shave them winter balls?
I was shaved about 3 weeks ago. What, a fortnight or so?
A fortnight isn't that 20 days, isn't it?
Something like that, I think so. 7 years ago. But and because I had the Lawnmower 3.0, it did a phenomenal job. No nicks, no cuts. And with that in mind, the Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer is the best hygiene tool for the modern man. Because of the ceramic blade and advanced skin-safe technology, your snags on your snowballs will be reduced. The trimmer is also waterproof, so you can trim in the shower or a jacuzzi if you're a savage.
If you're a savage, yeah. If you're trimming your nuts in a jacuzzi, especially if it's not your jacuzzi, then you are definitely a savage.
That's alpha male shit right there.
Yeah, and especially if other people are in the jacuzzi. Anyway, Manscaped's Performance Package is the best buy of 2021. The Performance Package comes with the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, which we all need as we get older, Performance Boxer Briefs, and a travel bag.
Bonus. Have you ever noticed how nasty nose and ear hair is? In fact, 79% of partners polled admitted that long nose hair is a major turnoff. I deal with long nose hair myself. It is a pain in the arse, but if you get yourself the Weed Whacker ear and nose trimmer, you can deal with that. And you might as well use the best tools to do the job.
Indeed. This bundle also comes with the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner. The Crop Preserver is anti-chafing ball deodorant that will make your balls smell nice and make you feel like your testes are walking in a winter wonderland.
Oh, God, doesn't that sound good? Now, the Crop Reviver is a spray-on toner for your balls, and it's made with soothing aloe and witch hazel extracts that will make your balls look up at you and say, thanks. You're my friend.
Thank you, Randy. You treat me so nice. Don't get cold feet this winter. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code IDIOTS at manscaped.com.
They also have a ton of other amazing men's hygiene products on their website, from disposable mats for your pubes to foot deodorant. Now remember, that's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code IDIOTS. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code IDIOTS, IDIOTS. Thanks, Manscaped, for making our winter wieners look so good.
Winter wieners, I love that. Yeah, so let's make your balls look up at you and say thank you, sir.
Thank you, guy.
Hey, guy. So definitely check out Manscaped, 20% off, free shipping. Idiots, code IDIOTS, to say thank you.
Do it.
Oh yeah, and what amazes me, is when I went into prison, we didn't have all the cell phones they had today. Back in the 30s, this stuff didn't exist. I remember my cell phone was a big Motorola thing the size of a brick.
Yeah.
You had to get a hernia carrying it around. So you didn't have all this technology. You couldn't access all the rest of the stuff and social networking and all that. You didn't have that.
Yeah.
So you have to get down there and do the dirty work.
How was it then
Today,
with
you didn't do that.
with the contact stuff? I mean, I guess, did you just have a number that they would call if you didn't? I mean, cell phones were probably hard to come by, or a lot less common, more difficult to find.
Well, I'm sure you've heard of a Rolodex. I know that's pretty passé.
Sure.
It's like your mechanical can opener. But generally speaking, your name goes on a list.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, when people, the different contractors, the different operators, because there are several, you got to understand there are a lot of people out there doing the same thing that I do. And I just one. There's several thousands of us out there at any given time.
Of course.
And they're all over Afghanistan. A lot of these people come out of the military. And you have to understand something. All these guys are really primed. These guys are pumped up. These guys are young. they're in fine physical condition, and they're in their 30-somethings, and usually they'll come out of the army in their late 30s or something like that, mid 40s, and you can't see these guys, serving coffee at Starbucks or working, putting stock on shelves in Walmart. These guys have been spending their lives trained how to kill people,
Yeah.
and make war. So these guys, they navigate their way into these type of opportunities, and they're everywhere. Private security forces for corporations, and their installations in various countries all over Africa, Latin America, the Middle East, South America. There's enormous amount of work for these people.
Yeah.
One of the biggest companies is Eric Prince's company,
Eric Prince.
Blackwater. They
Oh,
do
yeah.
all the security for the army bases and everything.
Yeah.
Of course, they got that
Mhm.
contract because we won't get into the politics of it all, but it's all dirty and corrupt and everything.
Of course.
You name it. But we don't care. We don't get involved in the politics. You could take the job or don't take it.
Yeah.
And it could be a flying job. It could be there's all kinds of jobs that come out in business. So you
Did
get
you have
called
any?
up.
Did you have any flights that that you felt uncomfortable doing, or that that even if you said yes to the job, you're like, maybe there's a little bit of an ethical issue, or you felt a little
Like
uncomfortable?
even the first time's got to be like, hey, should I really be doing this? Like what was the first time
Good
that
question.
you were asked to do something like that? What was that like?
Well, no, we don't generally have a lot of problems like that. Generally, the problems come, sometimes you get shady guys that hire you. So I did a contract with an Australian guy once, flying co-pilot with me, with a Lear aircraft, doing some high altitude infrared photography in Nairobi.
Okay.
And the word got to us, we contracted through another thing, but the word got to us that this Italian company was doing all this shit, were kind of shady, and we weren't too sure there was likely we weren't going to get paid. So we decided to skip on the contract. But we had come in there from Dubai, and we weren't exactly overloaded with cash because we'd come in there to do the quick job on that airplane. It was supposed to be a 4 or 5 day job. So we decided to go against it like that. So we figured to raise some money. And my co-pilot was an Australian fellow, and by profession, he was a gemologist.
Okay.
So he went around in Nairobi that night with a hammer, and he knocked out a bunch of the green traffic lights, with the thick plastic and all that. And then he got busy in the hotel room with a couple of files and wraps and a whole bunch of shit like that, and oil and polished it up, and cut himself up and made a bunch of emeralds. And we sold a bag of those shit to a bunch of drunk Italian pilots in a bar in Nairobi for several $1,000s. And next morning, he jumped on an Italian plane, and he's lickety split, got the hell out of there. And then,
Wow. That's
but it was
resourceful.
a good story. And it went around everywhere. And after a few months, we kept hearing that there wasn't a green traffic light to be found anywhere in Nairobi. We discovered the emerald source.
Oh my God.
That is great.
That's so wild. So maybe
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, but that's it. Sometimes you get a feeling in a contract, you walk away from it. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. So maybe let's start with more of a timeline, sort of, kind of how you obviously started flying. I don't know when, but basically from then, and then kind of how you got embedded into this, and sort of how long you did it, sort of that type of stuff.
Well, I started flying pretty young there. My father was a private pilot, and his friends, they had a small aero club with a bunch of light airplanes. And so we pretty well grew up in airplanes. And I grew up on the airport in Montjuïc, which is up on the Gaspé Peninsula of Quebec.
Okay.
And during that time in the 50s, it was the Cold War, and they were building the DEW line against the radar defense against missile attack. Excuse me. Got something stuck in my throat here.
No
Anyways,
worries.
we were surrounded by airplanes all day long. We just grew up in airplanes. Never thought of anything else. So it just became natural. Yeah,
For sure.
get a drink over here.
No problem.
Got a nicking there.
Oh, the irony.
Right,
Drinking some Coke
Yeah.
while we're talking about Coke. Right?
Perfect.
yeah, it was made with that stuff before. Remember that?
Yep, absolutely.
We made the real stuff. Yeah. In any event, that's it. Then I got into took my commercial multi-engine instrument like everybody else, and went the instructor route. Did several thousand hours instructing. Got my air transport license. Went to fly a co-pilot on the DC-3 when I was 21. Then I got checked out left seat. So I started left seat on the DC-3. I was 21. So I
Wow.
worked up in the Arctic, up and down James Bay on that. And then I ended up on the spray operations. I used to come and contract on that every year because spraying the budworm,
Oh, okay.
flying super constellations, and that was pretty good. That was a hell of a lot of fun. Buzzing around with big 4-engine buggies like that, at about 100 feet off the trees there,
Yeah.
200 miles an hour. So that
Just enough to make your balls pucker.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, you get the old pucker factor, and sometimes it takes you 2 or 3 days, to unsqueeze the old ring. Sometimes you got to unstick your seat because you suck it up in your seat cushions so hard. It takes you a couple of days to do that. That's okay.
Yeah.
Look at it.
That's the thrill, right?
It's fun. Yeah, and then that's it. Then I got into the black operations, and then arms eating, and one thing goes to another, and so forth and so forth. And over the years, you build up your network, you build up your connections, and that's basically what it really boils down to. You have to you're in a network, and you can either expand, contract, or get the hell out of the network, one or the other. But
Yeah.
if you're in the network, generally when stuff goes around, at my age, I don't get any calls anymore. I did when I first got out in 2013. I got a call to go and do some work on that Boko Haram thing there in Africa,
Oh, yeah.
which is where you're flying gunships, the helicopter gunships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and basically your job is to go out there. They locate where all the friggin' Boko Haram, and your job go out there to annihilate them.
Oh,
You just go out
jeez.
there and make news when we leave, and then they send people in on the ground after that, make sure they're all dead. Yeah, and
Wow.
then they do the body count at the end of the month, and everybody gets a bonus. The more bodies, the bigger the bonus.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. All right.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's
Yeah,
That is-
these 900s. They're pretty nimble little helicopter,
Yeah.
and you got to train on 20 millimeter Vulcan gun under the nose, under the
Mhm.
chin, and you got a guy with a 50 caliber in each door. I could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, a little bit.
a
Speaking
hell
of
of a lot
pucker
of
factor.
firepower.
No
So
kidding.
in terms of your work with the CIA and stuff, were you doing that while doing work with the cartels, or was it sort of CIA work and then transitioning into cartel work?
It's all mixed. Yeah, I could do 2 or 3 jobs, black operations a year, maybe one. Some years, other times you could do several in a period of a couple of months, and other times you go 6, 7 months with nothing really on the paper that was interesting. But I was generally
Right.
working out of my office in Brussels anyway. I never lacked for work, but I put a lot of other guys to work too when I can't necessarily do the contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still get called today to book pilots for the cartels, even today.
Wow.
That's
I'm
crazy.
surprised actually that with everything going on, that you're actually allowed to speak as openly about this as you are, or it's just sort of.
What they say. I couldn't care less what they think.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
good.
You gotta be that's ass. If they don't like it, they can come and talk to me straight to my friggin' face.
There you
I
go.
wouldn't give a the president himself or Trudeau himself. I've met the stupid son of a bitch a couple of times. I even flew with Canada in his 1968 election campaign. He sat in the back there and sipping whiskey and smoking doobies in 1968 in his election campaign. So I have a problem with that. Yeah.
Oh boy.
I ran into Trudeau's son there right in the goddamn hallway in Leclerc prison a couple of years ago. He was in there doing some kind of visit. Before he was still just a member of parliament.
Mhm.
And I ran smack into him coming down the hallway with the warden in the prison. Of course, the warden introduced me, and that wasn't difficult because everybody knew who the hell I was by then.
Yeah.
Got all over the place. So I
Wow.
talked to him, shook his hand, talked to him about 10 minutes. And I said, I said, you should run. That was a stupid mistake. I regret saying that. I said, you should run for 10 years. But I hated Harper so much, I figured, well, shit,
Yeah.
anything better than Harper.
Yeah.
So they put that fucker in, and well, he turned out to be dumber than a wart and a donkey's ass. So,
Oh boy. We could spend a lot of time talking about that, but let's move on. Let's pivot here. Speaking of important people or well-known people, I was listening to I was watching your YouTube video with Mikey of the Buffalo Air guys, and you were talking about Barry Seals and Pablo Escobar and stuff, and we could start with one or the other, but so you knew them both personally?
yeah, sure. Yeah, both of them.
Yeah. And so then you had mentioned in the video that Tom Cruise wasn't a spitting image of Barry Seal, or what?
Well, really, all you got to do is Google. It's Admore Barrymore Seal. Barrymore Adler Seal is his real name. Barrymore Adler Seal.
Wow.
Guy is 6'2" and he weighs 340 friggin' pounds. He's 5'7", and he's
Yeah.
maybe 160, 150 pounds with his boots on, with the high heels and everything,
Yeah.
So, yeah. So ain't the same at all.
I've heard that the movie
You know,
was good. I didn't watch it. I haven't watched it myself, but I heard that it was pretty accurate. But apparently, according to you, it's not.
Complete crap. Ridiculous. Absolute ridiculous. Bullshit, garbage from start to finish.
Really?
Nothing to do with reality. And anybody would use an Aerostar in the drug business got to have his head examined. Nobody ever used an Aerostar in this business. It's the stupidest possible airplane you could possibly select. It's the shittiest flying piece of crap. High loaded wing, high stall speed. You think you're going to operate that with flimsy little gears on runways like he does taking off in a stupid film out of there? Lord, the thing would be 3 times that length of the way. Not only that, you get in the thing by opening the door on this left side of the pilot.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Throw the bales right out into the spinning prop? Not too friggin' smart. Yeah, the whole thing was bullshit from the get-go.
That's fair. I expected
I
nothing
love
less.
it. It sounds like such a simple thought process, just the way you're putting it, right? Like, why would it work like that, right? I love hearing the passion behind it from you too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very dangerous business, and it's not slap happy like that. It's damn serious, It's not like the film is Tom Cruise playing Tom Cruise. He wasn't playing Barry Seal at all. He didn't resemble Barry Seal, didn't look like him, didn't sound like him. And don't forget, they had a few processes over the period of years making the damn movie. They crashed the Aerostar in Colombia while they were doing the thing. And they killed 2 guys. The stunt pilot got killed, and the other guy got killed. Then they got a little controversy because they met some of the guys with the FARC, and then they contributed some money to the FARC, like $400,000 or something like that. That's right. You go into a country like Colombia, they let you in to go film, and you go and see the insurrectionists there who are illegals. They're guerrillas, and you're giving them money while you're in the country. What? You're nuts. So giving money to the rebels. So that didn't come off too well.
No.
Right.
And then they were killed, and that was it. So they had all kinds of problems. It delayed. And then eventually they changed the title and it became out American Made.
Yeah.
But if you want to go get the real story, go back. You remember, I don't know if you all remember Dennis Hopper and from the Easy Rider movies.
No, I don't.
Dennis Hopper, he played the role of Barry Seal way back in the 70s.
Okay.
There's a couple of movies out on that. If you go on Google or YouTube and all that, you'll find them. They're good movies about the damn thing.
Nice.
And there's more like Barry Seal. He did a much better job, but the one in American Made was totally ridiculous.
It's just a
It's the same
Hollywoodized,
like
yeah, it's baloney. Anyway,
Right.
speaking of,
So as you're working it, you get in with the cartels. Is it kind of like a system where you get in, you start with some small stuff because maybe they know your name from a buddy, and then you gradually work your way up to the point where you're like meeting Pablo and doing the big work?
No, not at all. It doesn't work that way at all.
so just
When
whole hog.
it doesn't work that way. Everything is so compartmentalized, with the left hand. Nobody knows. You don't know any more than you're supposed to know. It's very, very, very attached. It's a very complex organization. It's extremely well run. And they're not all the same run as the Escobars and all that. It's very sophisticated. But you got to remember one thing. Let me put it to you this way. The drug war has been fought against the cartels, say that, for God knows how many years, ever since Nixon opened his fucking mouth in 1985 there and started this shit. And then that silly bitch, Nancy Reagan, just say no to drugs and all that. Well, they're the guys, her boss, her old man is the shoveling the drugs into South LA and then getting crack and getting all the black guys all riled up on cocaine. That's just a bunch of hypocrites. Anyway, long story short, that's basically it. Next question.
What's Pablo like? I mean, speaking of shows that do it well or don't do it well, have you seen any?
He's a guy you'd like to hang out with. He's a jolly fella. He takes good care of his family and looks out for the people that work for him. But he's a ruthless son of a bitch. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
You cross him, you're not going to see it coming. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't get angry. You don't see him ever having fits. If somebody falls in disfavor, you're going to get told once that you make a mistake. You'll get one once. If you open your mouth, you ask too many questions. It's like now you see him, now you don't.
Yeah, unreal. Okay, so basically, Um,
It's a dangerous.
well, no kidding. Did you ever any close calls as far as, I don't know, people trying to hijack the plane, or they know what you're running and they kind of you have altercations?
Oh, Christ, that's standard in Colombia. Yeah, when you move the drugs around all over like that, people find out about it. There's always groups of people that work on it, workers and laborers and all kinds of stuff. And the information always leaks out here and there. And there's always some dumbass who figures he can make a big score, by calling up all his little delinquent buddies, and setting up an ambush, because it's pretty easy to get weapons in Colombia and places like that,
Yeah.
that bring across Venezuela. So, and they try stunts like that. They'll try to hijack a load. They'll find out the load's going to leave. And they'll do that. But it usually ends very badly for them.
But
We generally find out about stuff like that ahead of time. So
yeah.
we actually, and then we won't stop a trip for it. We'll just gear up. There'll be a truck full of people armed to the teeth. But we generally do that anyway. When they're moving the drugs around, there's usually a lot of very, very well armed people around. Sometimes 50, sometimes depends on the size. Sometimes a couple hundred heavily armed men. And we're talking, right out the movies, with the
Yeah.
ammunition belts and all those things. And those guys will look at you. They'll shoot you quick as they'll catch you.
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
So generally, when a situation like that happens, yeah, we've handled those. We've never had anybody hijack us successfully. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's good.
Excellent. Good record.
Yeah, that's good. I guess we can start. Actually, there's before we move on, Dale Sawchuck, a friend of mine. Shout out to him. He got us connected. He's the one that reached out to you about coming on the show, and he gave me a few questions that he wanted me to ask you while we have you on. So, first one, he wanted me to ask if you have any money buried anywhere in South or Central America from your old days.
I don't bury money. Don't work too good. It takes to rot.
Yeah, then you got to go back in.
Money doesn't work that way. Money has to be in circulation.
Yeah.
You bury it in the ground like that. Each bill has a number on it. And if it's out of circulation for a period of time, these go through the banks and they notice that. All these numbers are registered. So if the money's not in circulation, it's not being used, it's going to go on that list eventually. Not only that, it's going to exist. And over a period of time, it just rots. And then they used to seal it and vacuum seal it and everything get put in the ground. But you got to launder it as fast as you can. But just keeping it there and money, it doesn't make any difference.
For sure.
You keep a few million around like that, for pocket change and this, that, expenses.
Pocket change.
You don't. Nobody needs to keep billions of dollars lying around. It doesn't serve any purpose that way. It's got to be reinvested. It's got to move. We a bunch of the pilots and all that. We got together and we set up a foundation. That actually was Pablo's mother's idea. Actually, her and one of her sisters. They had set up a foundation. She was a school teacher, by the way. Education was a big thing for her. And she went all over Colombia like that, and she built schools and supplied them with money and books and everything else like that. And parents who didn't have enough money, they could apply and get money so their kids could eat, have food, and have clothes and shoes in their feet, and go to school in the morning and have food in their belly so they could learn. Yeah. So that was, that to me seemed like a much more appropriate use of the money than anything else we could probably it for. I mean, I never did it for the money. I don't give a shit about money. I actually don't like money. I don't like the attitude that people have about money, and I don't like people thinking that they can do anything they want just because they got money. It don't work that way,
Yeah.
Right. We'll give you. I remember a guy like that. I just won't mention any names. They were sitting having a big argument, and it don't go too well when people are arguing like that. And they're drinking a lot, and the scotch is well advanced, and the bottles are empty, and guy's got a couple of lines up the nose, and an argument gets going. And then for some stupid insult like that, he'd pull out a 38, boom, and just blow the other guy right there in front of you. Sitting right there in the club. Dangerous people.
So no kidding. So you did it mostly for the thrill. If not for the money, it was just for the experience, for the travel, the thrill.
Well, yeah. And when the Casey thing came out, I had pretty well retired. I hadn't done any flights for Christ a year before that. And it was like a dare. They said they tried it 2 or 3 times. They never got. Actually, in '89, they tried. Pablo had got financed a thing with the DC-3. Yeah, it's an American guy. I won't mention his name because it's not necessary. He's still around. And they were trying to fly this thing out. They set that up. They were going to fly it up to Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
But they got the thing ready and they flew it around doing some test flight with it. They go out here and the Colombian Air Force caught wind of that. And they went after him. The thing didn't have any drugs in it. So the Air Force, they shot the shit out of the thing on the ground. So the thing looked like a sieve. So that
Oh
was
my
the end
God.
of Pablo's attempt to go north with the coke. And Pablo wasn't that interested
Yeah.
in going to Canada. He had no interest in going to Canada because the market wasn't big enough.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But it was the Italian mafia here in Montreal that had pretty well set up the deal. They wanted the goodies here.
Oh,
I strongly suspect they wanted to re-import them back into the United States at one point because
yeah,
you don't have a market in Canada for that.
Right.
for sure.
But yeah, but
Interesting.
every year they had this goddamn drug war has been going on. They spend billions and billions and billions every year, but the production increases by 35 to 25, between 25 and 30% every year.
Yeah.
The boys down there can't supply the demand. So where's your drug war going?
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It doesn't make sense.
You want to
It's
get the,
it's kind of
yeah,
nonsense
I'm a
as far as
member
I'm
of the
concerned.
Open Society Institute, and I wrote papers like that, for UN studies and various things like that on the drug war and policies that should be used. Drug abuse personal drug abuse is a medical problem. I'm not criminal about that.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you going to throw a guy in jail for or a person in jail because they've got a drug addiction?
Couldn't agree
It
more.
doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
Yeah. We
It's
need to
totally ridiculous.
remove the criminal
You're
aspect and deal with the personal aspect. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a medical problem. It's not a
Yep.
criminal problem, but
100%.
they're not going to take it away because it's such a lucrative business.
Oh yeah.
You remember the DEA in 1985 when that silly bitch Regan was saying no to the drugs. They weren't even an entity. They were maybe 2,000 of these guys, and they were part of the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Then
Right.
he formed a separate agency. Now they're friggin' 25,000 of the useless bastards, and they're all over the world.
Yeah.
And doing good shit, but getting their nose in people's business and getting shot and getting people in trouble. But they're not doing anything useful. They
Yeah.
certainly do the drug war. They lost that a long time ago. So forget it.
Well,
But they're
yeah.
all there. So what are you going to do with these people?
Well, and they have no
you got
leg
an
to stand on
institute
either,
over
right?
there. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Where are you going to go? Are you going to go write tickets on the highway?
Nope. Anyway, next question. He has number 2, total hours he has flown or total hours you have flown on the books and how many hours you've flown off the books, if you have a rough idea.
Oh, I don't know. It's not that we fly a lot of hours. You fly a lot of hours when you do a lot of long range over ocean stuff like that. I don't call that flying. You just log the time. You're sitting warm in the seat. But what we do, we fly. We're not sitting there warm in the seat watching a computer fly the airplane. We're actually flying the goddamn thing. We don't have any computers.
For sure.
Yeah, and we're down close to the ground, and the ground will come up and smack you pretty quick if you're not careful. So yeah, I stopped logging around 20,000 hours, and I probably threw in another 7,000 or 8,000 after that over the years.
Wow.
But I really logged a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But some of the drug flights are long. Some of them are 20 hours. So we used to do long ones. They're forward back.
Where would
I
that
used to
be
do long
to and
range
from?
flights with the electric. The boys got up there, and we had a few flights with those. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's 22 hours nonstop.
And where is
We
that to
fly
and
all the
from?
way sorry?
That's from where to where?
From Colombia, and we go and drop on the supply boats right off the Azores, a couple hundred miles off the Azore Islands, the Portuguese islands.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
And then we head back to Colombia.
That's
Usually
so
head up
wild.
there with 12 to 14 tons in the plane.
That's crazy.
Unreal.
Even in
Unreal.
terms of making those runs, like, are you having to stay below certain altitudes and stuff to stay off of radars? Like, do you kind of know, the areas, what kind of jurisdictions you're coming into? Like, what's the research that goes into that?
Oh, yeah, a lot of research. I mean, we do a lot of research. I mean, we have inside information. We have our spies inside the CIA. We have our spies inside the DEA. We have our spies inside the customs. We have our spies in the cops. We got people paid right up into the president's office feeding information. Believe me, the cartels have much better information networks than the friggin' cops. And they tend to work together. The cops, don't like to work with each other. The DEA and the CIA hate each other's guts. And if they can do anything to trip the other one up, they don't cooperate. So we use that to our advantage. Or we did, I should say, because I'm retired right now, fellas. I'm not in the game no more.
Allegedly. Yeah. Speaking of involvements, another question Dale had here was, how did you get involved with Mikey Mcbryan for the the Ice Pilots Plane Savers videos? How'd you get in contact with him?
Well, he bought the project off Benoit Demoulder, a friend of mine from here in Montreal, who had got involved in that thing that had been flown there. And I've been watching this airplane for a number of years because I remember when it first arrived there. It flew in. It was in perfectly beautiful condition. They flew it in. And the people who raised the money, they were going to restore it. They were going to do this, do that, all kinds of projects like that. The money kind of flickered away here, there, and everything else. the money went everywhere. Like, I'm not going to really be critical, but it went everywhere except where it was supposed to go.
For sure.
And the airplane just got neglected and it got sat there and then it got vandalized like that. So I had a real big shit fit with these people. And I moved them out of there. And so we got Ben out there and he bought the rights off the airplane like that.
Okay.
And then we started to raise money around here and we saw it was going to be a difficult project. So he got in touch with Mikey and Mikey got involved.
Nice.
So Mikey he battled out here and he came and he saw the thing and they wanted it. So he got involved. And 6 months after that, bingo, she was flying.
Awesome. That's cool.
Eating.
I got involved running around. I was the parts, go get the parts guy. Running
Yeah.
around. I was the local gopher.
The gopher. Yeah, I was just gonna say. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was great fun.
That's nice. Last question he had. Who would you want to play you in a Hollywood movie of your life? Tom
Dear
Cruise?
God, don't think so.
No one comes to mind. What are you thinking?
Oh gosh, I wouldn't know. You hit me with a question like that. I couldn't think of it because I don't pay that much attention to actors or anything like that.
It's fair.
One guy I like is a Canadian guy, Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
There you
I can
go.
see that. I can see that. Let's do it. All right, Keanu. We'll be in touch.
Keanu could do a good job on that. Another one who could do a good job in there as like attitude is that Matthew McConaughey.
Mm-hmm.
He could do a good job. But
That's for
he's
sure.
probably Ryan Reynolds is a Canadian actor would probably really fill in a nice job. I would prefer to be a Canadian actor, quite frankly.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
Right.
I'll tell you, I'm meeting next week. We've already got a feature film that was signed a couple of years ago to be produced here in Quebec, but they've decided to jump over to just the film, and they're going directly into a series. So it's going to be a 3-year series,
Cool.
10 episodes per year. I'm starting work on that in the next couple of weeks.
Man, just
So hold
popping
your
off.
breath, and that's all the dirty bits coming out in there. Now you're going to see all the good.
Busy.
Yeah, it's going to be a series. So we got a little bit of poetic license we can get in there,
Yeah.
without getting running the risk of libel suits and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Right.
Oh,
So
that's
the lawyer's
amazing.
been working on that for a couple of years to see how we can do that. So it's going to start, I think, in production within the next 2 months.
Nice.
So
Well,
it
good
should
luck
be
with that.
ready,
Excellent.
by
Um,
this time next year in theaters. No, it's going to be a TV series.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to the theaters yet.
Nice. Yeah,
Which-
I'm looking forward to it.
with this one.
Definitely have to watch that. Also, I guess since we've touched kind of on a lot of the build up, kind of the the cartel stuff, the CIA stuff. Now let's talk about kind of the quote downfall or the descent, the the capture, perhaps. So basically, maybe tell the story of you were chased by some F-18s and sort of maybe start to finish, kind of how that came to be.
Well, it's
Sounds like
not-
you gave them a run for their money.
Yeah.
Well, it was not really. I mean, I didn't do anything special. I mean, it's not. I don't want to make it sound like the guys in the F-18s are a bunch of nincompoops. Don't want to say that.
Hey, they're just keeping the seats warm and pushing buttons, right? You're flying.
Yeah.
It kind of struck me as funny. They're coming from Goose Bay, and I'm 500 miles out in the goddamn Atlantic. In the name of Jesus, you got to go on Afterbird to come out to intercept me when I'm coming your way. All you got to do and I'm coming straight at you.
Yeah.
So you come shooting out at me, supersonic speed, you blow all your fuel, and then you wonder by the time I get to the coast that you're running low on fuel.
No
So
kidding.
the first, because I'm listening to all this, because I have the frequency scanners, I can hear everything they're saying.
Yeah.
They don't know that, but they do now because I've told everybody. But I have military scanners that scan all the military satellites. I told you, the cartel, we're well equipped. I buy those the same damn way the U.S. Air Force can get them. I get all the satellites, the military frequencies from all the satellites, which is 10 times more accurate than the crap you get on GPS.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Right.
And that's it. So we know we can listen to it all. And I knew we were just checking our watches and say, taking bets on a pool, actually, and who was going to run out. It was one of the mechanics that won. At 12, I figured 8 minutes, and the other one said 12. So we got into meetings. So it was 11 minutes and a bit. And they ran out of fuel. One went down, and the other one came right in close to me, and he flew around us like that, making signs to go down. Yeah, right. It was nice to look at, but I really on fuel because. So we're chuming. So when he ran out of fuel, he just peeled off and off he went. And as soon as he left, we were down around about 8,000 at that time. So after 8,000 feet, I just kept the power on and smoke right down there, parallel up the St. John River. until I got to northern New Brunswick and I could cut across because I didn't want to cut across northern Maine because then I cut across the American airspace. You
Yeah.
don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So
Right.
if we can stay in Canadian territory and straight up the St. John River, cut across and straight to Casey. And by that time, I'm down about 150, 200 feet over the trees, which is kind of fun with a Convoy 580 at full tip. Blasting right along. All you see is green.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Things
Was
take
there
along, you're doing 300 and change there.
were you
Yeah.
worried at all that they might take a shot at you?
Ooh.
The F-18s?
Oh, hell no. They won't dare do that.
No.
That's illegal. No, they can't do that. There's
Okay.
a couple of countries where they've opened that possibility. Brazil, Colombia did that. Peru, and they shot down planes and killed pilots. Peru, as a matter of fact, they screwed up really badly. They shot up a Cessna 185 on floats over the Amazon River. They got a report that it was a drug plane from the CIA plane that was patrolling. The DEA plane was patrolling, and he said, "Oh, you're a drug plane." So they went. The Peruvians went down there with some Tucanos, shot the goddamn thing up. The only problem was it was the missions airplane with the missionary pilot,
Oh,
the missionary in the friggin' airplane. And they killed them all.
Oh no.
That,
wow.
that was the end of shooting at the goddamn airplanes
Yeah.
in Peru. Yeah. But we gave them a little something. We gave them a little present there. You have to wait to see the documentary at one point.
Okay.
We retaliated several months after that. There, I fixed them up pretty good. Cost them. We did 37 minutes Tucanos, bombed them right on the ramp, 4 o'clock in the morning. Vehicle. And bombed them with jelly gasoline dropped out of a DC-3. Go figure.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
Doink, doink. 7 barrels of gelatin.
Jesus Christ.
Napalm.
Yeah.
Telling you, you're a living action movie, man. I can't wait to see the film.
Yeah.
You'll see that in this series.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that didn't work too good for them. And after that, well, in the Colombians, they shot down a King Air at one point. They made a big mistake. They were getting a lot of pressure from the Americans. I got to make sure I get some results. The Americans were putting money in there, you know.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, you got to go show us some results. Yeah, but the Colombians said, oh, yeah, they shot down a plane. It was on its way back. Actually, there were no drugs in it. And they blew they shot it up, and it was just about to land. So the plane crashed, and they killed the 3 guys.
Oh.
So it didn't go down too
Right.
well.
Yeah.
Within weeks after that, there was a naval base not too far away from there. They grabbed a bus full of cadets, boom, decapitated every single one of them, stuck the head under the armpit, sewed it up, and stuck a stake up their ass and out the hole there. Like, and they planted them right at the entrance to the naval base. They planted 12 of them right in front of the base. And the message when they got in the morning, they said, the next time you shoot down one of our planes, you kill any one of our crews, for every crew of ours you killed, we're going to give you 12 of these. That was the end of that. Gave me,
Wow.
never fucking shot at an airplane after that again,
Yeah.
ever. And they know that. They know damn well. You shoot down the goddamn plane, we'll come and get you.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. There's nowhere you can hide. We'll come and get you. Sometimes it can take a little while, but we get them.
Wow.
Believe me, we have intelligence networks through the cartels. They're always still there.
Yeah.
It's all about the money, you know. Whatever you can pay for, you can get the information.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
No big deal.
Wow. Okay. So continuing on, that was a great tangent. So speaking on getting them right. So after so you basically you leave Colombia with what'd you say, over 4,000 kgs of some cocaine and other things in the plane. The F-18s try to intercept you. You end up landing in Quebec, and then what happens then? Like, do the police meet you there, or kind of how does that work?
No. I lost this a long time ago. I landed there was nobody there. So after about half an hour, 45 minutes, Jesus, I'm getting a little concerned here. There's a little road going by. I saw a yellow truck coming down the road. It was the lumber company there, Stone Consolidated. So I went out there and hitchhiked. I got it right down to the village, which was 12 kilometers from there. To get that payphone to see, because nobody was answering the goddamn cell phone.
Yeah.
So I went down there, tried to call, couldn't raise any people from Montreal. So I called. I went back to the airport. Shit. Wait another hour. About noon, I went back down there with another ride. Tried again, but this time I called for a charter. But I disappeared. Nobody knew where the plane was. But the guys had been the RCMP and the customs and knew the airplane was in Canada somewhere.
Yeah.
So they had sent advisories to all the different airports all around. So when the company Latuc got a phone call for a charter for an Aztec guys to get an Aztec come up and pick me up with my crew. But I was going to take the Aztec, and I was going to switch my Aztec for the conveyor. Here you go. Get the other guy. You can put the conveyor here. Wait till the cops come, buddy. I'm taking your ass there. Ciao. I'm out. I wouldn't have met him. I would have had the Colombians take him out, so he wouldn't have seen me.
Yeah.
And then out you go. And I would have flown back to Montreal, but it didn't work that way. And as soon as I got back to the runway, the two F-18s went smoking right over the runway. So the Colombians were sitting in the truck and they panicked. They took off. They left me, son. That old guy, he was standing on the runway with me. And he looked at me and he said, "What's going on?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "Hey, Rock." So off he goes. And I'm standing there and I'm looking at this airplane. There's 4,342 kilos in the thing. And I'm standing by myself, staring at this thing, 300 miles in the friggin' bush north of Montreal, Quebec, all alone, minus 20 bloody 0 degrees. I'm looking at this thing and I said, "I don't fucking believe this." Anyway, so I had to go out and try to hitchhike and get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
And I got a ride, and I ended up in a camp, the Stone Consolidated Camp, about 50 clicks from there. And I was there when the RCMP arrived several hours later. They arrived by helicopter. I was sitting there in the camp drinking coffee in the office. The guys were hiding out in the bush. When the RCMP came with the helicopter, and a good thing, he followed the trails in the snow and they found the guys. The guys almost died of hypothermia, the stupid bastards. I had no idea what they thought they were doing. In northern Quebec, don't speak the language, no documentation in your pocket. So I asked the stupid co-pilot, who was the one that was sitting at the wheel, and I says, "Where the hell did you think you were going? You don't even know where you are. You got no ID. You're 300 miles in the bush in northern Canada. You don't speak the language. Where were you going?"
Yeah. Just no thinking, just flight. Yeah, just take off. Yeah.
Yeah. Just the adrenaline pumping. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sort of like he panicked, but it was his first flight. So I found out it was his first flight, and he worked for that company regular. And the guy was from upper class Colombian family type thing, haughty-taughty type thing,
Yeah.
the kind that the royal family of Monaco were the admirers, like his daughters were named after the princesses there, Saudi little bastard,
Yeah.
But that was his first drug flight, so that wasn't too good.
It didn't go well.
Hadn't it been for the fact that he had a nice family and nice daughters, it wouldn't have ended very well for him.
No. Jesus.
No, I told him, no. After they went back to Colombia, I got them out of jail. They got no help from anybody down there. I took care of everything. Our lawyers took care of it here. And I got them out. I ended up paying the bill for all the legal bill for all the guys.
Oh, wow.
Nobody else did that. So I got them back. And I didn't want anybody retaliating against them, not their fault.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
5 years and 12 months. So the guy got home. There was no point in retaliating. Go home and enjoy the rest of your life. But stay away from that business. You're just not fit for it.
Yeah.
You got to have seriously big balls to be in this business.
Evidently. Yeah.
Wrong.
Okay, so then the police find you, you get arrested. I read somewhere that during was it the arraignment or something, the other people that were being accused, they were all trying to hide their faces, and apparently you looked at the camera and winked or something, as if you're just like, "Nah, it's no big deal. We'll get it to work." Just the cowboy or whatever you're.
People really get out there and they wouldn't feel ashamed of doing some criminal activity. So they had us in the cells downstairs to bring me up in the courtroom, to read charges and all that kind of shit. And then you walk there with this goddamn door, and there they are, all these newspapers and TV cameras, and everybody else is there. So the guys are all hiding their face. I mean, I don't give my face. I'm not ashamed of what I do. I'm a fucking mercenary. I have a damn good one. I was one of the best in the world. I'm among the top 150 rated mercenaries in the world. Yeah, because we can do everything. It's a matter of all the skills that you have. The more skills that you have, the higher you're rated.
Sure.
Right.
So, I don't take you for shit. I'm not ashamed of what I do. I get paid to do that. I don't give a fuck if it's the government or the CIA or the cartels that pay me.
Yeah.
Period. That's the name of that. They're all goddamn crooks. The government, as far as I'm concerned, they're all corrupt. They're all crooks. Everything.
Ain't wrong.
Hey, you just saw what we got flushed out in the United States, and that's far from over.
Oh, 100%.
You want to talk about corruption? I mean, there's where your crooks are.
Yep. Oh yeah, hiding in plain sight too. That's the thing with, especially with the U.S. and just in general, the war on drugs is total bullshit, because you have the powers that be talking out of one side of their mouth saying, "Stop it, everybody stop, shut it down." And then the other side, they're funneling drugs and they're selling drugs and they're paying off this and they're doing this, and it's a mess.
All you got to do is use the old doctrine. For Christ's sake, the Americans are the nature of business of the United States of America is war.
Yep.
Oil and the goddamn U.S. military is out, not there defending the U.S. citizens. It's out there defending the fucking oil interests. So
Yep.
get over it. We know who gives the orders. We know who has the goddamn money. It's the oil companies and the resources and all the private contractors and the rest of that shit and all the crooked politicians that are in their pockets. So, fellas, that ain't going to change anytime soon.
Nope.
So, me and the boys that I work for, we're professionals. We don't get involved in politics,
Mm-hmm.
If I don't like you, you get in my face, you're going to have another asshole up here real quick.
On that note, okay, so then you, after after this, so then you served 5-ish years, and then you got let out on parole, and then you escaped to Colombia. Is that right?
Well, again, they say escaped. It's not exactly an escape. Technically, I left.
Yeah.
I was out on a weekend pass, and I didn't have the proper conditions I wanted in that halfway house. It was a terrible place. I'd asked for it to fix. After 5 months, they didn't want to do anything about it. They said, nah. So I was looking at spending 2.5 years in those conditions, and that wasn't going to work. So the last thing you're going to do, I did the right thing. I said, you can do this, you can do that, you can do that. And he said, oh, we don't do that. I said, okay, that's fine. And I don't give a shit. I'll ask it and I'll do it the right way. If it won't go that way, fine, fuck them. I'll do it my way. I tried to get my girlfriend to come to Colombia when I was incarcerated here after they captured me. Oh, no, 3 times. They wouldn't let her come in. Not refused for no reason. She's got her own businesses in Colombia. She doesn't have a criminal record.
Sure.
Why the name of shit? Not only that, she has a visa to get into the States. So they wouldn't let her come to Canada. Oh, so you won't let her come in? Okay, fuck faces. Here's what we do. So I sent her over to Spain. So I got her organized over with the fellas over there, and she came over here with a fucking Spanish passport. Even went to visit London and all the rest. Came over here and spent a year.
Yeah.
Not only she spent a year here, cost me 10 grand, and I got her a real Canadian passport right out of the goddamn passport office, going and delivered, which she used for 5 years after that. So you see, you go and you do the right thing, and you want to do the right thing, and they're trying to fuck you up. Well, yeah, what you go fuck with people like me. You'll find out. Yeah, okay, I'll ask you the right way to do it. Then you won't see it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so then
That is fantastic.
so you make it back to Colombia, and then I was reading again. I don't know if it's true, but that you were kidnapped and held for ransom.
Oh
Yeah, what was that experience like?
Interesting.
Yeah, I bet.
Not something one usually comes across in life.
No, but you make the most of it, But actually, it was quite an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say it was interesting. I don't regret it. It's no big deal. You learn shit. You see how they operate. Me because I was decommunizing all the little Marxists. So I'm telling the guy sitting in front of me with an AK-47. He's about 14 years old. I said, you're going to trip on the strap on that thing. And he says, oh, I know how to use this thing. So the next 2 minutes, he gets up like that, and sure enough, he trips over the goddamn AK-47. There on an upside down pail. And I pick up the AK-47, and I'm holding the fucking thing in my lap. And then comes the commandante, and he sees the poor little bastard sitting there on the ground, and I've got the AK-47. He threw a shit fit.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I said, he picked up his rifle. He threw him. Hey, they gave him a trial the next morning, and they shot the fucking kid, 14 years old. Yeah, they gave him a military trial. They don't fool around.
No,
Wow.
apparently not.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gone. They had breakfast and all that. Their boiled water and some guts and rice and beans and little shit. And then they had a little table out there, and then they read them the charges. They had their little board of Marxists and all. They're doing a little thing like that. And then they lined them up and they shot the guy.
Fuck, that escalated quickly.
Wow.
Okay, so then we'll keep moving the story along. So then so then after that, again, I read it was $100,000 U.S. ransom. Apparently, I don't know who paid that. The government, and then you get extradited.
What ransom?
I don't know. I was one of the articles I was reading when I was researching. They said you were released on $100,000 ransom. It said, and then extradited.
Oh no! Of the rebels, you mean?
Oh, maybe.
Oh well, no. I'll give you the whole story. We landed there in that territory. Actually, we were on Transoriental, a little airline, commuter airline, and we left via Vicencio, and we stopped a couple of places. Doing the milk run up and down there on the eastern side of the Colombian jungle.
Okay.
And we landed there and it blew a tire when we landed in Tame. The tire blew. So the airline said, oh, we're going to take us 3 or 4 hours to fix this. So, okay, I will go to the village and have lunch. The village is only 3 clicks. Okay. So we left all our stuff there, and then we took a taxi, went to the village. Because they have a big monument for Simon Bolivar there. That's where we crossed the mountains, in his quest or whatever. So we go there. But, of course, it's a red zone. The guerrillas were there, and that's the ELN, different group, not the FARC. I was going to meet a FARC guy 60 miles And the route comes 60 miles farther down. The FARC guy was waiting for us there with one of our guys. And these dumb bastards saw us and they got, there's a white guy there. So they must have thought we were petroleum engineers. So they ambushed us on the way back. They ambushed us on about a quarter of a click from the airport. Trucks just blocked the highway. They all got out, a bunch of cars, everybody armed to the teeth, grabbed us and threw us in the back of the car and get the fuck out of here, Put you on the floor of the car with a gun in the back of your head. And that's it. You don't argue. You just go.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and that was after about a month and a half it took. And they wanted $5 million for us. But they didn't take. The next day they found out who we were. And they found out that the FARC was waiting. So that got real testy for them because the FARC got on their case big time. Because you the fuck you doing? So we agreed that we would give a contribution. It was called giving them a little contribution to their cause.
Sure.
So instead of paying $5 million, we generously gave them 150,000 US for the cause. And that was it. So then they released us. It was a Monday morning. We all drove down to the village. And I thought we were close, but it took 3 hours to get down to the goddamn village from the mountains. And there was my good friend and my partner's wife and all that, and all the FARC guys, the ELN guys, and a bunch of cartel guys. There's about 40 guys there. We all had big lunch and all. Everybody had beer. Everybody had a good time. We paid off at the end of the game.
Wow.
No hard feelings. See you later.
Yeah, it's business, boys. It's business.
So then after that, you got sent back to Canada?
Well, that was on a Wednesday, and I remember that. No, that was the Monday. I got released, and we went down to the ranch close by there, some friends of mine, and I stayed there. And the Wednesday, I came back to the airport to go back down to Medellin.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to the airport, I hadn't been there 10 minutes, and then the secret police showed up with 4 trucks. And they surrounded us, and they grabbed a whole bunch of us like that. And they said we were being detained. I said, yeah, what for? We just got orders from Bogota, you're being detained. So they took us to a military base, and they put us in the park, parked us with a table and chairs right in the middle of the parade square. So they could observe us from the distance. No, that couldn't be about. But it took the lawyers till around 7 o'clock in the afternoon to get us released from that. They put us in a hotel under armed guard.
Yeah.
So around 4 o'clock in the morning, they came and they pulled me out of there, and they took me back to the base, stuck me in a cell, and they wanted to get me in a plane and fly me down to the headquarters in Bogota. I said, not getting on the plane. They wanted me to sign release forms that they respected my rights. I ain't signing nothing. You're kidnapping me. You got no business touching me.
Yeah.
My lawyers ordered you to be released. They said, we got orders from Bogota. We can't do nothing about that. So anyway, I said, I'm not leaving. You got to go get my friends at the hotel. So they went back to the hotel. They brought my friends, the 2 ladies and my partner. They brought them back. And I said, I signed the release. He said, don't worry, Ray. We've already called the lawyers. They'll be waiting when you get to Bogota. We shouldn't have said that because they heard that. So when we got back to the airport in Bogota, they didn't tell anybody. And they hid me in a truck like that. And they went into the secret police headquarters and down through the basement. And nobody knew where the hell I was. I just disappeared. They disappeared me for 2 days. My lawyers couldn't find me. They couldn't nothing. I had a superior court judge ordered to have the police release me, but they kept calling the lawyers, and all the police saying, we don't know where he is. We don't know where he is. Until they kicked me out. And then Friday morning, they pulled me up in front of all the newspapers with the big sign. All the newspapers are there to take their pictures. Oh, yeah, big drug traffickers were, yeah. So I got kicked out of the country for 5 years. That was it.
So they're basically kind of hiding you from the lawyers just long enough so that they didn't have to release you and then they could send you back to Canada.
Well, that's it. So, I was no extradition. They keep this bullshit they kept saying here on CBC. Oh, yeah, he got extradited. Yeah, I didn't get extradited. My ass. They couldn't extradite.
Yeah.
There was no such a thing. They had my residency permit canceled for 5 years. That's the best they could do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was suspended for 5 years. So they were supposed to send me to the last port of entry. And the month before, I had flown a Learjet flight from Santiago, Chile into Bogota. So theoretically, according to their law, they should have sent me to Santiago, Chile. And I had the passport in my hand and everything.
Yeah.
So, but they sent me to Mexico. I said, I don't want to go to Mexico. But I said, I don't give a fuck. I got my passport. And when I got to the plane, then the RCMP guy shows up. And I said, yeah, he introduces himself. Says, hi. He says, I'm here to escort you to Toronto. I said, rock and roll, buddy. I got my passport. He says, I'm getting off in Mexico City. I said, you can go where the fuck you want. We got to Mexico City. They already had that plan. So they wouldn't let me off the plane.
Yeah.
So before they let all the other passengers off, and then 4 Interpol guys marched onto the airplane like that. They wrapped me up and they stuck me in a car. They always stuck me in a cell at Interpol. Didn't feed me until 1 o'clock in the morning. No water, no food, no nothing.
Oh,
and then they hauled me back, stuck me in the friggin' plane, and shipped me up to Toronto. Then they arrested me when I got here in Toronto for being charge in Canada because that's
So
where their arrest warrant isn't valid outside Canada. So they had to arrange to have the goddamn gas kidnap me to bring me back here.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's all fucking done now, so I care less.
And what year was that?
You got your own dirty tricks. I got my own little dirty tricks too, so
Of
I
course.
don't give a shit.
What year did that happen? Like 96 or something?
Wait a minute. That was 2000.
Oh, was it? Okay. And then
Yeah.
so then you ended up serving until what did you say? 2013, 2011, 2013?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess
No, 2000. No. Wait a minute. I came back in 2000. They stuck me in, and I went back to a medium, and then a year and a half later, they sent me back to the minimum, and then they said, "Well, we're not going to parole you." So I knew I was going to go to the gate, which means you're going to do full 2/3.
okay.
So right there, they weren't going to support me for parole, and I said, "Okay, that's fine." So I called the boys, arranged everything. My girlfriend from Colombia was here. She'd been here for a while with the Canadian passport, with the Spanish passport.
Yeah.
But by that time, she already had a Canadian one. It's so fucking stupid. I mean, it's simple, you know. They think, you know, they want to just make things easier for people.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I already arranged that. I had a cottage and all that already arranged. So we boys fit all that up, nice swimming pool and all of that. So she was already installed there. So I went out for a work code at noon, and I said, "Boys, be in front of the workplace at noon," and that's it. So they were there, and I jumped in the car and off I went. Adios, second time. And then I looked around. My girlfriend and I, we spent all 2001 here, right up until the summer,
Oh, yeah.
till the fall, and she went back in November back to Cancun. I hung around and did some more business until December. Then I got on the plane in Toronto and went back to Mexico.
Oh.
And I got captured by the rebels. That's when they brought me back here, and that was it. Finished. Yeah, I wasn't. Too
That is unreal.
Yeah.
Wow.
They let me in the friggin' door anymore.
Yeah, it's just a whirlwind, and I imagine you probably have hours and hours and hours of experience and stories and hearing some of the things about like the landing strips and kind of how they're carved out of the bush and you know all the other stuff. It's incredible that first of all that you're alive, but also that you did it for so long that you know that you went through all this stuff and that now you're you know speaking openly about it. It's fucking bananas, man. So thank you for joining us. This has been
Well, we
this has been a treat.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you know, at my age, and you know, I've got cancer, and I don't know how long I got to go. And
Oh, I didn't know
you
that.
know,
Sorry to hear that.
already I'm tired of seeing all the bullshit, and I'm going to speak up, and so the rest of the guys, and that's
Yeah.
it. And they want to fuck with me, but I'll tell you, there's a couple thousand guys out there. We ain't all dead yet.
Yeah,
A lot of them got the little secrets, so they know. They leave us the hell alone. They just
For sure.
They just yeah, they don't. They're not seriously concerned about us at all.
that's fair.
Frankly, they couldn't give a shit about you, me, or anybody else.
Yeah.
They go out there and bomb and kill people and by the millions. You think they give a shit about us?
Nope.
They got much bigger fish to fry in the grand scheme of things.
They
Yeah.
couldn't care less. They know they can do anything they goddamn well want. And
Yeah.
they did that thing. They fed the drugs into South LA for 10 years, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah.
The CIA was supplying South LA. 10 years.
Oh, for sure. It's
they
we're never
admitted
going to get away from it.
in writing. And Maxine Waters, who's still the representative of Congress down there, still got it.
Yeah.
And when Gary Ward blew the whole story in To Kill a Messenger, he blew the story apart.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He ended up suiciding him after. He won a prize for that too. Go watch that movie, Kill the
I
Messenger.
will.
It's for real.
Yeah.
It's a true story.
It's fucking
it out.
dirty and it's dark
Yeah.
and it's you know,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm glad that
Yeah.
people like you that were in it.
The whole shit show.
Yeah. I'm glad that you guys are available. Also, I didn't know about the cancer, so I'm sorry to hear that. Hope you're doing as well as can be expected.
Cancer.
Sorry?
Yeah, they gave me 6 to 7 years to live when they diagnosed it, but I'm already at 12 years.
Oh,
Cancer's couldn't make pizza side. Fuck the cancer. I'm not worried about that.
It's saying this is one tough son of a bitch, man. I don't know if we can take him down.
no kidding. Anyway, so you have the Crave documentary that's coming out. You have that other series coming out. You have a book that you wrote, I believe I saw. What's the name of the Crave thing so people can find it? What's the name of your book if they want to buy it? Do you have a website or anything you want people to find?
The Crave thing is Le Dernier Vol de Raymond Boulanger, the last flight of Raymond Boulanger.
Okay.
That's the title of all of them on Crave. It's on Crave. It's on Canal D in French, Discovery Channel in French.
Okay.
And now on Nuvu, which is another one of the Bell channels here. NOOVO.
Okay.
It's on there too.
Right.
And it'll be soon on an English channel too. It's done. But Bell Media don't own the English rights. They didn't want to pay for that. They just wanted Quebec. Now they're all pissed off because they really wanted it.
Yeah.
Now they have to pay more. But they don't.
Fuck them. Fuck Bell. I
Fuck
hate
'em.
Bell.
Yeah, so that's it. And then you'll see it coming out worldwide pretty soon. When Kwanzaa starts selling it, we'll know pretty soon. They start selling it in March. I just
Awesome.
finished all the English translations for them, so they got all that now. And, that should be going in circulation sometime next month.
That's awesome.
So
Perfect. Looking
okay.
forward to it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think I have any other questions. So like I said, thank you for being patient with us because we had a hell of a time getting this interview to line up because our, all the different technology shit. Anyway, it worked. I'm glad you joined us, Ray. Thank you for joining us. I hope you all the best and to keep telling your story.
okay. Attaboy. See you later, fellas.
It's been
All right.
awesome. Thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Ray. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. All right. It's just you and I now, Randy. We're back. We're back in the
Wild. What a life.
unbelievable.
Like, what else do you say? How do you even quantify it into words, really?
Yeah, I'm flabbergasted, and frankly, to talk so flippantly about so many like heinously, like aggressively dangerous things, and frankly, some really shitty things is just also mind blowing to me. But what a wild time. Like, I would crumble and cry if I were in any of those situations even once. And he did it
Oh
as a
man,
job
there's
for
no
years.
way I could do it.
No, definitely. Nor could I.
Man's got a set of balls the size of friggin' the Rockies.
The Rockies, yep. Or some maybe French range or something somewhere in Quebec.
Yeah, whatever kind of mountains you got out there in Quebec.
Yeah. So I think I don't know if there's much else speaking of him mentioning Bell, we didn't talk about it in our last episode, but I think we should say fuck Bell Media because they're all about taking the COVID money and then turning around and laying off hundreds of people like in the middle of the day and then claiming that it was reasonable. I don't know. I say fuck Bell. But
no, fuck Bell for sure. I mean, if you're gonna start doing shady shit like that, like it's ridiculous. Don't sit there and preach about mental health and wanting to help people and all this shit, and then turn around and do what they did. It's super shady. I haven't been a Bell customer for anything for years, and I don't plan on starting anytime soon.
Unfortunately, I am, and I have such a great deal for my internet. I'm already kind of fucking them because I fought them against each other to get a good deal. So I'm going to take that as my act of rebellion, and
there you go,
and just keep paying them not very much. But
there
that
you
said,
go.
I'm glad that I want the COVID money to be there for businesses that need it, and in many ways it is, in many ways it's not. But when corporations, like, I'm not sure why there isn't oversight to say if you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation and you made whatever $900 million in your last quarter, maybe you don't get COVID relief.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like over a quarter. That's not even a whole year, right? Like it's why. I mean, just because they can get away with it, right? That's why they did it, because they can. That's the only reason. And like Ray said in the episode, right? Money drives everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, amen. Yeah, that's if that's the overarching theme of everything ever, all across the world, in all the languages, money rules all. Like if you have it, then you do what you want, and if you don't have it, you do anything to get it. And it's tragic, but it's true. So,
very true.
Bell can lick all of our collective buttholes and
lick dick, Bell.
Yeah. Okay. Or even, did you see the Dan O'Toole tweets after Dan got let go? Like
I did. I can't recall what to say off the top of my head, but I did see them.
I don't remember the exactly either, but the gist was essentially, so Bell Let's Talk only works for a day, but you're not going to give any money any other time, and then you lay off a bunch of people as though that doesn't affect mental health and all this other stuff. Like, yeah. So, yeah, I feel like there was maybe something else I want to touch on the end of this episode, but maybe not.
Now, Reg, I mean, we had about an hour of technical difficulties setting this up, so if there was stuff we want to talk about, we probably forgot.
Yeah, Randy and I were gonna bash our heads against the table for a little while there. It was a real treat. So if Randy sounds different, he's using his phone with some
Yeah. So
earbuds.
the quality might not be quite where it is, but we just had to sort of make do with the options we had.
Yep. I'm not sure if there will be a video for this. We'll see what comes of it, but regardless, let's do a little something here. So find Ray's stuff. His story is like we said. If you listen this far, you know we barely scratched the surface of this
Like
guy's
he's
life.
legitimately lived an entire action movie, like a trilogy franchise
Yeah,
in his one lifetime.
exactly. And so definitely check out all the shows that are coming out on him. I mean, you can disagree with the ethics and the morality, and of course, how can you not, right? But it's still interesting. I don't know. It's selfishly interesting. I find it fascinating.
Oh, for sure it is. I mean, ethics and morals and all that aside, it's still fascinating, and it's still a story that is, if it needs to be told, right? Like it's
Yeah,
good to get out there and talk about it. And this is what happens in the real world. Maybe people don't want to hear about it, but this is the kind of stuff that happens.
it's true. 100% that's true. So while you're looking for his stuff, I don't think he's super busy. Well, I mean, he's fairly busy on Facebook. I don't know if he wants us to plug it though, so I won't. He didn't mention it, so I won't. But look up his book and all that stuff wherever you want, wherever you want. Um, and while you're looking that up on all the social medias and all the shiz, look up Two Idiots Podcast on Instagram at Two Idiots Podcast. On Facebook, we're Two Idiots Podcast. On Twitter, we're Two Idiots Show. And on YouTube, search Two Idiots Podcast.
And by email, doubleidiotspodcast@gmail.com. And you can also find us on Patreon at patreon.com/2idiotspodcast. We have multiple tiers, which is now a Canadian funds.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to worry about that pesky currency exchange. And we've got anywhere from $3, $5, $7, $10 levels. Come and support us and let us know you like the show. And we're always doing stuff for our patrons over there, exclusive episodes. We have a merch draw that'll be coming up soon. So get in there and help support the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, and of the $7 tier and above, those folks are included in our Idiot Hall of Fame. And because Randy's on his phone, I assume he doesn't have access to Patreon to see the
I
list.
do not.
So I'll go through it. And so right now, the members of our Idiot Hall of Fame, and we love them, and they get a special shout out because they support us so much, so much, so much love.
Aww.
As it loads. All right. So the current members of the Idiot Hall of Fame are Mitchell Buck Pierce Buckers.
Walkers.
Even though he's told us the right way to pronounce his last name, we refuse to listen, and it is Buckers. Mr. Brian Moore, big top fan of the show. He's been around since the beginning. Hopefully, future guest once COVID pisses off.
Yes, for sure. Shout out to Brian.
Yeah. Next up, Drew Mcdonald, friend of ours, supporting the show. Thank you, sir. Followed by
Appreciate
Kayla
it.
Lundberg on behalf as well as of Jordan Peters. Thank you, guys. And last but absolutely not least, in fact, she was the first patron of the show, Mrs. Danny Dewick, Randy's lovely mother. She's wonderful.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. So thank you to everyone in the Idiot Hall of Fame. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for doing what you do. We love you. We love you.
We love you.
Yeah. So yeah, so you can get in on that too. For as little as $3 a month, you can help support the show, help us grow, help us build, help us get in touch with more
For
interesting
sure.
people.
Yeah.
Like
And shout out
Ray
to all the
Boulanger.
patrons at whatever level you're at. We know
Yep.
that, times are tough. People are, you're doing what you can to get by. So anyone who decides to donate even a little bit of money, we wholeheartedly appreciate, and we love you people.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. If we could set it, we'll take it. It's a wonderful thing that you do, and again, like I said, times are tough, so we get it. But if you can read, if you feel the urge, if you feel the pressure in your loins to support a local
Feel
podcast,
it deep down in your plums.
in your plums, yeah,
In your plums.
right where your butthole's puckered onto your airplane seat, as Ray might say. Then feel free. Two Idiots Podcast. Oh, it's patreon.com/2idiotspodcast. Also,
Yes.
I don't know if you've noticed, if you're watching the video, if it ever shows up, Look at Randy and I wearing our new Two Idiots merch. Oh, look at that! Look at that!
Look
So
at
some new
that. Look
some
at
new
that.
shirts. teespring.com/stores/2-idiots-podcast. There's links on our social media, folks. Find it. Get yourself some merch. Help. That's another way to support. Or
And you get these comfy ass shirts out of it.
they
You get
actually
shirts,
are.
mugs, all kinds of things.
They're really quite nice. I like them.
They are.
But in general, any support is great. But most importantly is just listen, tell a friend, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, which is
Those help
massive.
us tremendously.
5-star reviews go a long way, and we don't need you to give any financial support as much as we would like you to. But just listen, and if you like it, tell a friend. This one was one of our. This was just an interesting one. I mean, we've had many of them, and I keep getting surprised by who we have, but this was one for the ages, I think.
Yeah, no, this was great, and I appreciate Ray for coming on and giving us a glimpse into what that insane life was like, and I hope you all enjoyed it.
Indeed, couldn't agree more. All right, folks. Well, thank you for listening. Yeah, we made it, Randy. We did it. This was a battle. It was a tough one. We made it work.
We got there.
We persevered. Frankly, what we went through today was probably more difficult than anything Ray did in his whole life, if we're being honest.
Yeah, it was awful. It was awful having to switch from an iPad to a phone to a computer. I can't think of anything worse in 2021.
Exactly, right? It was a real struggle, but we persevered. We made it through. All right, folks. Well, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, like, whatever, all that other shit, whatever that shit.
Just do it. Get the name out there. That's all we ask.
Yep. All right. Well, we're out of here. Have a good day. Bye.